My name is Vanessa Carter. The day my husband walked into my office with another woman, my whole life stopped. I remember the sound first, the soft click of my office door opening. Then heels. Slow, confident heels on the floor. I looked up from my computer, ready to say, "Yes, come in." But the words died in my throat, because standing there was my husband, and next to him, a woman I had never seen before. She was young, stylish, perfect hair, perfect smile, and she was holding his arm, like she belonged there, like he belonged to her. My heart started beating so fast, I thought I would faint. "Vanessa," he said, like nothing was wrong. "We need to talk." I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because in that moment, I already knew something in my life was about to break. Let me take you back. Because this didn't start that day. It started long before that. Back when I still believed my marriage was safe. Back when I trusted him. I met my husband Oliver 8 years ago. It was at a small company event. I worked in accounting. Quiet job. Quiet life. He worked in sales. Loud, charming, always smiling. He noticed me before I noticed him. "You look like you don't want to be here," he said, sitting next to me. I laughed a little. "I don't." "Good," he smiled. "Then we can escape together." That was how it started. Simple, easy, fun. Oliver made me feel seen. He would call me every day. He would bring me coffee at work. He would say things like, "You're different, Vanessa. I like that." And I believed him. I believed everything. We got married 2 years later. Not a big wedding. Just family and close friends. I wore a simple white dress. He looked at me like I was the only person in the world. "I promise," he said, holding my hands. "I will always choose you." At that moment, I felt safe. I felt loved. I felt like I made the right choice. The first few years were good. We moved into a small apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We would cook dinner together, watch movies late at night, laugh over small things. I remember one night the power went out. We sat on the floor with candles. "See?" he said, smiling. "We don't need anything else." I smiled back. "As long as we have each other." I meant it. I really did. But slowly, things started to change. At first, it was small. So small, I told myself I was imagining it. Oliver started coming home later. "Work is busy," he would say. "New clients. More pressure." I understood. I supported him. I made dinner and waited. Sometimes the food got cold. Sometimes I fell asleep on the couch. But I didn't complain. I wanted to be a good wife. Then came the phone. He used to leave his phone anywhere, on the table, on the couch, next to me. But suddenly, it was always with him, always face down, always silent. One night, I asked him, "Why do you keep your phone like that now?" He laughed. "You're overthinking." Maybe I was. So I stayed quiet. We stopped talking like before. No more long conversations. No more laughter over small things. Just short answers. Yes. No. I'm tired. That became his favorite sentence. I'm tired. But I noticed something. He was only tired. with me. One evening, I tried to fix things. "Let's go out," I said, like before. He looked at me like I asked something strange. "Why?" he said. I felt a small pain in my chest. "Because we don't spend time together anymore." He sighed. "Vanessa, I have responsibilities now. I'm not the same person." I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. But inside, something felt wrong. Months passed like that. Quiet, cold, distant. I started to feel alone, even when he was sitting next to me. I would look at him and think, "Where did you go?" Because the man I married was not there anymore. Then came the first real sign. The one I couldn't ignore. It was his birthday. I planned everything: dinner, cake, a small gift. I even took time off work to make it special. When he came home, he looked surprised. "Oh, I forgot," he said. Forgot. His own birthday. Or maybe he just didn't care. We sat at the table. I tried to smile. "Make a wish," I said. He didn't. He just blew out the candles quickly. "Thanks," he said. That was it. No hug, no warmth, nothing. That night, I cried quietly in the bathroom, so he wouldn't hear me. After that, I stopped trying so hard. Not because I didn't care, but because it felt like I was the only one fighting for us. And I was getting tired too. But even then, I didn't expect what happened next. I didn't expect him to bring another woman into my world, into my space, into my workplace. The morning it happened felt normal. I woke up early, made coffee, got ready for work. Oliver was already on his phone. "Busy day?" I asked. "Yay," he said, not looking at me. I nodded. "Okay, have a good day." "You too." No kiss, no smile, just distance. At the office, I tried to focus. Numbers, reports, emails. But my mind felt heavy, like something bad was coming. I didn't know why. I just felt it. Around 11 a.m., I was working on a report. The office was quiet. My coworkers were busy. Everything was normal. Until that sound, the door opening, the heels, and then I looked up and saw him, Oliver, standing there, like he had every right to be there, and beside him, that woman, her hand gently holding his arm, her smile calm, confident, almost proud. My stomach dropped. I stood up slowly. "What is this?" I asked. My voice was shaking. Oliver looked at me. No guilt, no fear, just cold. "Vanessa," he said, "this is Claire." Claire. She stepped forward slightly. "Hi," she said softly, like we were meeting for coffee. Like this was normal. I couldn't breathe. I looked at him again. "What is this?" I repeated. This time louder. My coworkers started to look. I didn't care. Because in that moment, my world was starting to break, and I knew whatever he was about to say next would change everything. My hands were shaking. I could feel everyone in the office watching us, but all I could see was Oliver. and the woman next to him, Claire? I didn't know her, but something about her made my chest feel tight, like she already knew everything about me, and I knew nothing about her. "What is this, Oliver?" I asked again. This time my voice was lower, more controlled. But inside, I was breaking. He took a small breath. Then he said, "Can we talk somewhere private?" I let out a short, bitter laugh. "Private?" I said. "You walked in here like this, and now you want privacy?" Claire shifted slightly, still holding his arm. That small movement made my heart hurt more than I expected. Like she was comfortable, like this wasn't new to her. "Vanessa," Oliver said, a little more serious now. "Please." I looked around. People were pretending to work, but I knew they were listening, watching, waiting. I didn't want this scene, not here, not like this. "Fine," I said. I grabbed my phone and walked past them. I didn't even look at Claire again, because I was afraid, if I did, I might lose control. We went into a small meeting room. The door closed behind us. The silence inside felt heavy. I stood near the table. Oliver and Claire stood across from me, together, always together. That hurt more than anything. "Start talking," I said. I crossed my arms, trying to look strong, trying not to cry. Oliver looked at Claire, then back at me. "This is Claire," he said again, like that explained everything. "I heard her name," I replied. "I'm not deaf." Claire took a small step forward. Her voice was calm. "I think it's better if Oliver explains," she said. Polite. Careful, like she was the good person in this story. I felt anger rise in my chest. "Explain what?" I said, looking at him. "Explain why you came here with her? Explain why she's touching you like that? Or explain why I feel like I don't even know you anymore?" My voice was shaking again. I hated that. I didn't want to look weak, not in front of her. Oliver sighed. Like this was difficult for him. Like he was the one hurting. "Vanessa, things haven't been good between us for a long time." I stared at him. "Things haven't been good because you stopped trying," I said. "That's not fair," he replied quickly. "Not fair?" I almost laughed again. "You disappear, you come home late, you don't talk to me, and now you walk in here with another woman, and you say I'm not fair?" Claire looked down, but she didn't move away from him, not even a little. "I didn't plan to hurt you like this," Oliver said. That sentence, that stupid sentence, it felt like a knife. "You didn't plan?" I repeated slowly. "So this just happened? You just woke up one day and thought, 'Let me bring another woman to my wife's office'?" He didn't answer, and that silence told me everything. "How long?" I asked. The question came out before I could stop it. "How long has this been going on?" Oliver hesitated, just for a second. But I saw it, and it hurt. "A few months," he said. "A few months." I felt like the room was spinning. "A few months," I repeated softly. Then I laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It sounded empty. "Wow," I said. "So all those late nights, All those "I'm tired," that was her? He looked uncomfortable. "Vanessa! Answer me!" I shouted. "Yes," he said. Just one word. But it broke something inside me. I looked at Claire. Really looked at her this time. "You knew he was married?" I asked. She didn't look away. "Yes," she said quietly. That answer shocked me more than anything. No shame, no guilt, just honesty. I didn't know if that made it better or worse. "And you're okay with this?" I asked. She took a small breath. "I care about him," she said. Simple, direct. Like love was enough to justify everything. I felt tears in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall, not yet. I looked back at Oliver. "So what now?" I asked. "What is this? Why are you here?" He finally stepped forward, but not close enough. Never close enough. "I think we need to be honest," he said. Honest. Now he wanted honesty, after months of lies. "I'm listening," I said. My voice was quiet now. Too quiet. "I don't think this marriage is working anymore," he said. There it was. The words I feared, but hearing them still hurt. "I've been unhappy," he continued, "for a long time." I shook my head slowly. "You never told me that." "I tried." "No, you didn't," I cut him off. "You stopped talking. That's not trying." He looked frustrated. "This is exactly the problem," he said. "We don't understand each other anymore." I felt anger again. "Understand," I said. "I waited for you. I supported you. I stayed when you changed. What part of that is hard to understand?" He didn't answer, because he couldn't. Claire spoke again, soft, careful. "Maybe it's just time to move on." I turned to her. "Don't," I said. Just one word, but full of warning. "This is my marriage," I continued. "You don't get to give advice." She nodded slightly, but I could see it in her eyes. She already felt like she belonged in his future. "So this is it?" I asked Oliver. "You bring her here? To tell me it's over?" He looked tired. "Yes," he said. That word again, simple, cold, final. I felt something inside me break. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet. Like a glass slowly cracking. "What about everything we built?" I asked. "Our home? Our memories?" He looked away. "I'll make sure you're okay," he said. That sentence made me feel sick. "I don't need your help," I replied. "I just want to do this properly." "Properly?" I repeated. "You lost that chance a long time ago." The room was silent again. Heavy, painful. I could feel tears now, but I still held them back, because I didn't want my last memory of this moment to be me crying in front of them. "Do you love her?" I asked suddenly. Oliver froze. Claire looked at him, waiting. I watched his face carefully. Every second felt long. Then he said, "Yes." That was it. That was the moment. The final cut. I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. My voice sounded strange, like it didn't belong to me. Okay. I turned away from them. I needed air. I needed space. I needed something, because I felt like I was disappearing. As I reached the door, I stopped. I didn't look back, but I spoke. "You could have told me," I said quietly. I deserved that. No one answered. I opened the door, walked out, back into the office, back into the eyes of my coworkers, back into reality. I sat at my desk, stared at my screen, but I couldn't see anything. My hands were still shaking, my chest felt heavy, and my heart felt empty. Behind that meeting room door, my marriage ended, but the pain, the real pain, was only just beginning. I don't remember how long I sat there. Minutes, maybe hours. My screen was still open, numbers and emails in front of me. But they meant nothing. Everything felt far away, like I was watching my life from outside. At some point, I heard footsteps again. I didn't look up. I already knew it was him. "Vanessa," Oliver said softly. I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them, slowly. "What?" I asked. My voice was flat now, empty. "We should talk about next steps," he said. Next steps. Like this was a business deal, like we were not married for 8 years. I let out a small breath. "Next steps?" I repeated. He nodded. "Yes. The apartment, finances. We should be clear." I turned my chair to face him. Claire was not with him this time, but somehow, I could still feel her presence, like she was already part of everything. "You planned this," I said quietly. He frowned. "What do you mean?" "You planned everything," I continued. "You didn't just come here to tell me. You came ready to leave." He didn't answer right away, and that silence, again, gave me the truth. "I didn't want to drag this out," he said. I stared at him. "So you chose to destroy me in one day instead?" "That's not fair." "Stop saying that," I said, louder now. "You don't get to decide what's fair." He looked tired, but I didn't care anymore. "I'll move out this week," he said. So simple, so easy. Like packing a bag was all it took to end a life. "And the apartment?" I asked. "We can sell it," he replied. "Or you can stay if you want. I'll help with the payments for a while." Help. That word again. It made me feel small, like I needed him, like I couldn't stand on my own. "I don't want your help," I said. "You don't have to be stubborn," he replied. "I'm not stubborn," I said. "I'm just done being treated like I'm nothing." He looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in months. But it was too late. "I never said you were nothing," he said quietly. "You didn't have to," I replied. "You showed me." That hit him. I saw it in his face. But again, too late. There was a long silence between us. Then he said something that broke me in a different way. "Claire and we're serious." I felt my chest tighten. I thought I had already felt the worst pain, but I was wrong. "How serious?" I asked. My voice barely came out. He hesitated, then said, We're moving in together. My heart dropped. Moving in? Already. Everything was already decided. Everything was already happening. And I was the last person to know. I laughed again. That empty laugh. Wow, I said. That was fast. It didn't just happen overnight, he replied. I looked at him. Sharp. So while I was waiting for you at home, cooking, trying to fix us, you were building a new life with her? He didn't answer, because he couldn't deny it. Tears finally fell from my eyes. I couldn't stop them now, and I hated it. I hated crying in front of him. But the pain was too much. I gave you everything, I said through tears. My time, my love, my trust. My voice broke. And you gave me lies! Vanessa, he said, stepping closer. I stepped back. Don't, I said quickly. Don't come near me. He stopped. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he said. That sentence again. Different words, same meaning. No responsibility, no real regret. You made choices, I said. Every day, every lie. Every time you looked at me and pretended everything was fine. He stayed silent. I would have understood if you were unhappy, I continued. We could have talked. We could have fixed things or ended things with respect. My voice became stronger, but you didn't give me that chance. He looked down. I know, he said quietly. That was the first real thing he said, but it still wasn't enough. Do you love me at all? I asked. I didn't know why I asked. Maybe I needed to hear it. Maybe I needed closure. He took a long breath, then said, I care about you. Care, not love, not anymore. I nodded slowly. Thank you, I said. My voice was calm now, strangely calm, because something inside me had finally accepted the truth. You should go, I said. He looked surprised. What? You've said everything, I continued. There's nothing left. Vanessa. Go, I repeated, this time stronger. He stood there for a moment, like he wanted to say something else, but he didn't. He turned and walked away. I watched him leave, the man I loved, the man I trusted, the man who promised to always choose me, walking out without looking back. The moment he disappeared, I broke, completely. I covered my face with my hands, and I cried. Not quietly this time, not hiding. I cried like I lost everything. Because I did. My coworker, Melissa, came over. Vanessa, are you okay? She asked softly. I shook my head. No, I whispered. I'm not okay. She sat next to me, put a hand on my shoulder. It's going to be okay, she said. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't. Not yet. That day, I left work early. I couldn't stay. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe in that space anymore. When I got home, the apartment felt different, cold, empty, like it already knew. I walked into the living room. Everything looked the same. The couch, the table, the photos on the wall. but it didn't feel like home anymore. I saw our wedding photo, me in my white dress, him smiling at me, happy, in love. Or at least, I thought so. I walked closer, picked it up. My hands were shaking again. "Why?" I whispered. But there was no answer. I went into the bedroom, opened the closet. His clothes were still there, shoes on the floor, his jacket hanging on the side. Everything normal! But nothing was normal anymore. I sat on the bed, and memories came rushing in. All the small moments, the laughs, the quiet nights, the promises. Were they real, or was I just blind? My phone buzzed. A message from Oliver. "I'll come tomorrow to get my things." That was it. No apology, no emotion, just information. I stared at the message. Then slowly, I put my phone down. That night was the longest night of my life. I didn't sleep. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything, every moment, every sign I ignored. I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I changed. Maybe I pushed him away. The thoughts wouldn't stop. Then another thought came, a quiet one, but strong. No. I sat up slowly. No, I said out loud. I didn't do this. Yes, we had problems. Yes, things changed. But I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't replace him. He made those choices, not me. Tears came again, but this time they felt different. Not just pain, but something else, something deeper. I looked around the room, at everything we built together, and I realized something. This was the end, not just of a marriage, but of the person I used to be, the one who waited, the one who ignored the signs, the one who stayed silent. And as the night slowly passed, one thought became clear in my mind. I lost him, but maybe I was about to find myself. The next morning, I woke up before the alarm. My eyes were dry. My head felt heavy. But my heart felt different, still broken, but clearer. I sat on the edge of the bed, took a deep breath, and said one simple thing. Enough. I looked around the room again, but this time, I didn't see memories. I saw truth. I saw all the moments I ignored, all the times I stayed quiet, all the times I chose him over myself. No more, I whispered. I stood up, walked to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red. My face looked tired. But there was something new there, something stronger. You're going to be okay, I told myself. And this time, I believed it. I didn't go to work that day. I needed space. I needed to think. I needed to take control of my life again. First, I cleaned. Not because the house was dirty, but because I needed to move. I needed to do something. Every item I touched had a memory, and every memory hurt. But I kept going. Then I stopped in the living room, in front of that wedding photo. I picked it up again, looked at it one last time. Then I placed it face down, not broken, not thrown away, just no longer in control of my life. Around noon, the doorbell rang. I knew who it was. I walked slowly to the door, opened it. Oliver stood there, with a small suitcase. For a moment, we just looked at each other. No words, no emotions, just silence. "I'll be quick," he said. I stepped aside. "Do what you need," I replied. My voice was calm, too calm. He walked inside, like a stranger, not like a husband, not anymore. I followed him with my eyes as he went to the bedroom, opened the closet, started taking his clothes, folding them, putting them in his bag, like nothing had meaning. I leaned against the wall, watching, quiet. At one point, he stopped, turned to me. "Vanessa, we should talk about the apartment again." I shook my head. "No?" He looked confused. "No?" "I'm staying," I said, clear, firm. "I'm not leaving my home." He hesitated. "Okay, but the payments." "I'll handle it," I said. He frowned. "It's a lot." "I know," I replied, "and I'll handle it." He looked at me differently, like he didn't expect that, like he thought I would be weak, like I would depend on him. "I can still help," he said. I shook my head again. "No?" "Why?" he asked. "Because I need to stand on my own. Because I need to respect myself again. Because I refuse to take anything from the man who broke me." But I didn't say all that. I just said, "Because I don't need you anymore." That hit him. I saw it. For the first time. He looked unsure. He went back to packing. Faster now, less comfortable. Then he said something I didn't expect. "Claire thinks it's better if we move into a new place." I stayed silent. She said, "It would be strange to live somewhere with history." History, that word. I let out a small breath. "Good," I said. He looked at me. "Good." "Yes," I replied, "because this place is mine now." There was nothing he could say to that. A few minutes later, he finished packing, closed the suitcase. He stood near the door, like he was waiting for something. Maybe for me to stop him, maybe for me to cry, maybe for me to ask him to stay. But I didn't. "Goodbye, Vanessa," he said. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't feel love. I didn't feel hope. I didn't even feel anger. I just felt free. "Goodbye, Oliver," I said. He opened the door, walked out. And this time, I didn't watch him leave. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it. The silence in the apartment felt different now. Not empty, not cold, peaceful. I walked slowly through each room, touched the walls, the table, the couch. "This is my home," I said softly. "My life." That evening, I sat by the window with a cup of tea, something I used to do alone. But it didn't feel lonely anymore. My phone buzzed, a message from Melissa. "Are you okay?" I smiled a little and replied, "I will be." Days passed, then weeks. It wasn't easy. There were moments I cried, moments I felt weak, moments I missed the old memories. But I never missed him. Not the man he became. I started focusing on myself. I worked harder, saved money, took care of my health, even started small things, like reading again, walking in the evening, cooking for myself. Little by little, I felt stronger. One day at work, I heard someone mention Oliver's name. I didn't react, but I listened. "He left the company," someone said. "Really?" another voice replied. "Yeah, something about problems with the client, and I heard things didn't work out with that woman either." I stayed quiet, didn't ask questions, didn't turn around, because it didn't matter anymore. That night, I went home, sat in the same spot by the window, looked at the sky, and I smiled. Not a fake smile, a real one, because I finally understood something. I didn't lose everything that day. I lost someone who didn't value me, someone who lied, someone who gave up. But I found something much more important. I found myself. I found my strength, my voice, my worth. And I realized I was never not enough. I was just giving my love to the wrong person. Now, I choose myself every day. And if someone ever comes into my life again, they will not complete me, because I am already complete. Moral lesson: sometimes the most painful endings are the beginning of your strongest self. Never beg for love, respect, or loyalty. If someone can walk away from you so easily, let them go. Because your value does not change based on how someone else treats you.